Citizens of Melbourne, we're here again at our weekly Friday evening vigil for Julian Assange. Julian Assange, the Australian journalist, has been illegally locked up by a crooked British government. Julian Assange has committed no crime, no jury, no judge, no decent judge with any integrity would have put Julian Assange behind bars. But they found a crooked judge in Britain who has done that. Judge under orders from the British government has locked Julian Assange away, even though he's committed no crime. The Australian government knows, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese surely knows that the imprisonment of Julian Assange by the British government, he surely knows the attempts by the American government to take Julian Assange over to America and lock him away for the rest of his life. He surely knows that they are illegal. He surely knows that he did only speak to Prime Minister Rishi Sunak of Britain, or speak to President Joe Biden and tell those two leaders that their persecution of Julian Assange is illegal. He could tell them today to take their hands off Julian Assange and Julian Assange would be free. He would be able to come back tomorrow to be with his wife and his two children. Albanese knows he could free Julian Assange, but he's chosen not to. And that is what we have a parliament for. Parliaments are representatives that are supposed to represent us and hold to account governments for what they do or what they fail to do. In this case, the government has clearly failed to make Britain end its illegal imprisonment of Julian Assange. That Parliament should, by rights, take Albanese to account. They should ask Albanese to explain to Parliament why he has done nothing for Julian Assange. However, bizarrely, Australia's Parliament has said little about Julian Assange. There are, by my count, 40 members and Andrew Wilkie both tried to put up motions calling on the government to free Julian Assange. Andrew Christensen's motion wasn't seconded, unfortunately, which is a mystery. Nonetheless, Andrew Wilkie tried a few days later to put up his motion, and they used bureaucratic rules to stop that. So, why weren't Parliament, what had the government then, what today has Prime Minister Albanese to fear from a debate about Julian Assange? If Albanese knows that he can do nothing to free Julian Assange, or if he thinks that it is right for the British government to imprison Julian Assange and for the American government to take Julian Assange and imprison him for the rest of his life, he could just tell that. He could just explain that to the Australian public. We need to know from Albanese why he's chosen to do nothing, and we also need members of Parliament who support Julian Assange to put their case. They tried in the past to move a motion to support, instruct the Australian government to tell the British government to free Julian Assange, but it wasn't allowed. They used bureaucratic rules to suppress it. Nevertheless, there is no reason why they should keep on trying. Unfortunately, Parliament discussion on Julian Assange is very limited. It's limited to the presentation of petitions and to members making statements. Never has the government responded to one of those statements. Never has the government responded to one of the petitions. The only way you will get a response out of this government is if a motion was put calling on the government to act to free Julian Assange. Julian Assange, and a number of parliamentarians also believe that the Australian government should act to free Julian Assange. They also think that by not acting to free Julian Assange, the government has failed to uphold its duty of care towards an Australian citizen. That is why we should tell the Parliament to tell our members of Parliament that we want Julian Assange debated. Stop just presenting petitions, stop just making statements. Go into Parliament next week, move a procedural motion, move that a motion be put calling on for Julian Assange to be freed. Okay, it might be defeated. The Speaker might say it's defeated. Well, call for a division. If a division is called, then the Australian people will know which members of Parliament want to debate Julian Assange, which members of Parliament want to free Julian Assange, and which members of Parliament want to use their vote to suppress debate, and which members of Parliament want to keep Julian Assange locked up.
They all should.
We should see that. Any member, all it needs is 2 members of Parliament, one to move, one to second, and we can have the division, we can have the debate. But that is not even being done. We just go on week after week. Last fortnight, Julian Assange was mentioned once. The previous fortnight when Parliament said Julian Assange was not mentioned at all. That is not good enough. We've got to have more of our Bring Julian Assange Home parliamentary support group speaking up for Julian Assange, using every occasion they can to stand up for Julian Assange and not let this government get away with turning its back on Julian Assange. Outside of Parliament, even whilst Parliament is doing nothing, those of us who support Julian Assange have to go on. We have to attend protests like this. We have to hand out leaflets. We have to speak to friends. We have to use social media. But ultimately, it's not going to be changed. Julian Assange won't be free until the Australian government does what it should for Julian Assange. It is unlikely that the British government can be made to free Julian Assange. It's unlikely that the American government will be made to free Julian Assange. But if the Australian government stood up for Julian Assange, they could make the American government back away. They could make the British government back away. Thank you.